a cheek on one of them. Oh, because it kind of holds you, because it's on like a... Well, you know, well, I thought you were doing it with me. Everyone loves growing flowers in their garden. They attract beneficial pollinators, and we grow quite a few that are edible flowers. And then also we have loads of medicinal herbs and flowers and plants that grow like that. So when it comes to wildflowers and lots of kind of age-old medicinal herbs, they tend to be really stable genetically. So you don't have to do much in the way of isolating them to stop cross-pollination. Because if you can imagine, a nettle, for instance, has perfectly, evolved on its own without too much human intervention, unlike our vegetable crops, which we continually select for the juiciest, biggest, sweetest versions. So wildflowers are a really, really easy thing to save seed from. And you simply allow the plant to set a flower, and then a flower is the reproductive organ, which then causes a fruit to form at the bottom. And a fruit could be a seed, it normally is. So in the case of wildflowers, kind of just let them do their things and collect the seed heads as they dry up. So you have seed for next year if you so wish, or if you want to share it with people like us. Or in cases like nasturtiums, so we grow a lot of edible flowers in the garden, nasturtiums, calendula, corn poppy, they're really, again, really, really easy to sow seed from. Now, they could cross-pollinate with each other because they are kind of cultivated species. You can see here that we've got a beautiful red nasturtium, which is the nasturtiums we started with last year, which has kind of mutated into a beautiful yellow nasturtium, which we didn't have last year. But there's some kind of genetic throwback that meant that this yellow popped out. I wouldn't bother too much trying to do things like isolate and only grow one variety of something like calendula or nasturtiums, because you're just going to get these lovely varieties that come out anyway. We have yellow calendula, we have orange calendula, we have yellow nasturtiums, we had red, we have orange, we have all different things. The main thing is that you realise which flowers are about to set seed. When growing flowers for edible purposes, the more you deadhead them, the more flowers the plant will produce. So a bit like roses, if anyone grows roses, as you deadhead them, it stops the flower from creating a seed head and thinking, oh, I've done my reproductive thing, I'm just going to die off now for the winter. And instead it goes, oh no, I have to keep producing, let me make more flowers. So you can extend your flower growing season by deadheading your flowers, or not necessarily deadheading them, picking them while they're still lovely and eating them in salads like we do. And now I'm going to show you how and what nasturtium and calendula seeds look like. So when we're saving seed from things like nasturtiums and calendulas and a lot of other kind of garden flowers, it's really, really easy. You allow your flower to die off on the plant, and once it's been fertilised by insects, you see all the little bugs flying around now, a seed head will develop, much like this. The flower head will drop off and die. It looks really not so nice, but that's exactly what you need to do. You can see in the centre of that one, there's a little seed head forming, and when it gets nice and big and juicy like that, it's ready. It's ready to kind of be a viable seed. However, again, like with all seed saving, there's a stage between it being really, really ready and not quite viable. So you have to watch really carefully. With nasturtiums particularly, they often drop off the plant while they're still green. So really you want them nice and brown, dry like this, but they will drop off onto the floor like that, which means they self-seed for next year. Great, you haven't got to necessarily plant them, but it also means that you won't get them in your pot to keep for next year in your dry, in your dry collection of seeds. So what I tend to do is go along and pick them while they're still green like this. And then I leave them in a bowl and let them dry out. And once they're dry, they put all the energy from the green outer sheath into the middle seed, and they tend to be pretty viable. It means that they're probably percentage-wise a little less viable than if you let them all fully ripen on the plant. But again, like other things I've mentioned, if you allow it to fully ripen on the plant, the risk is it's going to drop off in the wind or the rain, or just when it's ready, and you'll miss it and it'll be on the floor rather than your jar for saving seed. So what we do, we just collect them when they're a little bit green, preferably brown is better if you can collect them when they're brown, and then you just let them dry out and you've got all your seeds ready for next year. This is also true of calendula, which we continually deadhead. So our calendulas produce like mad. We love using them for medicines, for foods, and when they're finally at the end of their season, at the end of their life, they produce these beautiful seed heads that have little seeds in all different shapes and sizes that look a little bit like crocodiles. So do save seed from your flowers around your garden. Don't be too worried about them cross-pollinating. Most don't. Most stay quite viable and quite genetically strong. And save seed, give them to family members. Do a bit of guerrilla gardening, throw them around the corners and the trees in your local neighbourhood. They're a lovely, lovely thing to save seed from because they're very, very easy and they make so many people so happy, and lots of bees and butterflies too. So that's how you save seed from flowers.